Well, hello and welcome to another Happy Paws Sunday afternoon chat. I am delighted this week to be joined by Lisa Smart, our founder, her gorgeous little rescue Archie, who's at the back. And then who have we got in front of you, Lisa?
Well, this is Molly. She's I'm so sorry. She's just determined to be in the picture.
And
She'll get
she's
bored in a minute and wander off.
she's very welcome to join us.
Oh,
Archie looks very comfortable behind you.
yes. Oh, goodness me. Oh, he's having his afternoon constitutional after his pilchard lunch.
I'm sure he's exhausted, absolutely exhausted after eating.
No.
So today we're really excited to have Lisa back. She was on our first one 4 weeks ago now, and Lisa and I are going to chat about the centre, and we're also going to talk about one of our most important programs that will benefit from our 10th anniversary legacy appeal. If you are interested in helping us with that appeal, we would love a donation, no matter what size, small, large, or anything in between. And I'll have the link to our Just Giving page in the description box below. And before I start, I need to say the YouTube, please like, subscribe, and share the video if you could, because that will help us grow our channel. So hello, Lisa. Hello, Archie. Hello, Molly. Welcome to you all. Lisa, I wanted to chat to you about the centre because I think although people have heard the word the centre, they might not actually know what actually goes on and how it's grown over the years. Can you first of all explain to where is the centre? What country is the centre in?
Yes, our centre is actually in Turkey. And we've been working there for, well, it's just over, I think it's 8 years now we've actually been in Turkey, because when we started the charity, it was very much European, but we sort of landed, if you like, in Turkey, which is really lovely. And we've just built it up from basically nothing there. And it's just a really special place to be now, really special.
And how many dogs are actually at the centre so that people can get an idea of scale?
Well, we have now, we have obviously the dogs that we've assessed and rescued and assessed and are ready to come to the UK as such. We also have other charities who work at the centre too, which is really, really good. So they will obviously take their dogs to their country, whichever that may be, either America, Germany, Holland, sort of France. There's lots of different charities, bigger and some smaller, that just rescue the odd one or two, but it's all good, all brings a really good variety to the centre. And then of course we have another section of the centre that actually concentrates on dogs that can't be brought over to the UK or wherever for one reason or another, and so they will be rehomed in Turkey. So we try to sort of open it up to as many dogs in need as possible, but our goal obviously is with the retrievers is to sort of, or the cockers obviously, sort of to, yeah, Layla,
There she is.
yes, lovely Layla. So sort of there's quite a lot of dimensions now to the charity and what we try to achieve.
How many actual Happy Paws dogs do you have at the centre? So you explained all the other charities that are involved, but in terms of Happy Paws, how many do you have there at any one time?
We try very hard, because obviously it depends on, it's almost like a well-oiled machine. When we get so many out on a transport, that allows up and frees space and time for all the other things that go on over at the centre. So we try to sort of limit ourselves between 50 and 60. That's really what we can afford right now, and we just keep it sort of turning over. So we've got in July, we've actually got 12 Goldies coming over, which is
Wow.
amazing. So once they are homed and they're all with their lovely families, then we can start to say, right, okay, we've got other dogs that are actually waiting for our assistance that are already at the centre, but we can't commit to those until we know that we have the space and the finances. So it's sort of, once we get some out, then we can sort of shuffle some more into our program, which, and it works incredibly well. Yeah.
And then they become Happy Paws dogs.
Then they become Happy Paws dogs, and they get their bandana to prove that they are Happy Paws dogs.
Oh, that's lovely. Having all those dogs must take an enormous amount of resources.
Oh, it is, and it's unfortunately, like most countries, everybody's going through a cost of living crisis. We have to consider that in Turkey as well. They're going through it just as much as we are, if not worse. So we've had to take that all. Whereas 8 years ago, it might be sort of £1,500 to £1,700 to rescue from start to finish. Now we're looking at well over £3,000, and that's if a dog doesn't have any extra medical needs. That's just a straight rescue to rehome. It's just over £3,000
per dog.
Per dog. Yeah.
Times 50 or 60.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
yes.
That's, I don't think people realize how many resources are required to rescue, and to be a rescue that actually looks after their dogs, not just rescuing it for the sake of it, but actually giving them the care that they need.
This is the key, and this is how Happy Paws has really evolved over the years, Dominique. As you know, when we first started, it was very much the learning process. How are we going to do this? We wanted to make sure, as each transport, each rescue, you always try to learn something from it and try to improve. And we're always looking for ways to improve how we care for and prepare our dogs to come over, because so many of them, like Layla, like Archie, so many of them have had such dreadful experiences, and it's so important to us that we give them the time and the energy, if you like, to prepare them to come over here, because over here is a very different lifestyle to Turkey and what they're used to. So we've evolved, and with that sort of natural evolution, we've obviously increased our costs, because we want to do it right. We want to do it properly. We want to have a really high standard. And for us, it pays dividends, because when the dogs come here, they're happy, they're relaxed, they just need to adjust into their new life without too many issues. And that's what we're all about, but that does, I mean, the way we rescue, yes, it is, I guess, a bit more money than maybe if you just took a dog and brought it over here, but we're not that charity. We don't want to do it that way. So it does cost more money to do that. Yeah, most certainly. Yeah, on my last trip, I was told, don't you rescue anymore, we've got quite enough. And I said, oh, and when I came back, I went, oh, it was only 3.
Only 3. But you must get requests all the time.
Yes, very much so. It's constant, it's daily, it's so, what's the word, really, I guess it's just really frustrating from a rescuer's point of view, because you want to rescue everybody, you want to give everyone that chance, and particularly when you own or you have a Happy Paws dog, it sort of becomes more relevant, because without the centre, Layla certainly wouldn't be laying there as happy as a sandboy there, bless her little heart. Archie wouldn't be laying here on a sofa behind me, most certainly. He wouldn't be here now, because he was so badly abused. And
he's looking very stressed at the moment, Lisa.
Look at it, look, seriously, honestly, Archie, bear smart, seriously. But this is the thing, so it just sort of like brings it home to you just how important our work is. Sometimes in the evening I'll just sit and have a cuddle with his lordship here, and I just look into his eyes and I just think, wow, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the Happy Paws team and everybody's generosity and everybody's hard work. He wouldn't be here. So it sort of just resonates with me very much now, just how important our work is, because I want every dog that we rescue to have a dog, to have a life like Archie or like Layla.
looking behind us as we chat. That's that's what they do. That's what they do. Can you give me an idea of the facilities you have at the centre?
Yeah, there's this, it's again grown from nothing. We've got the fully functional vet centre, which is an incredible asset to the charity. That was very, very expensive, but it saved us an absolute fortune in private veterinary care. Absolute fortune. And that was really why we wanted to try and get that up and running and working well. It's you know, private vets are just as expensive as over here, and we were paying a lot of money to have our dogs treated, and you know, sort of all their health needs and all the rest of it. So we had to say, right, okay, let's just go for it. Let's just really push and get this vet centre up and running and registered. By doing that, we can do things like, I mean, we can't do like major operations, obviously that's a different thing altogether, but things like spay and neuter, things like teeth cleaning, things like treating hotspots, vaccinations, this, that, the other, you know, this sort of general veterinary care that can be, obviously can be facilitated. And it saved us a fortune because we've got it there. It's now an amazing asset. And that's not only used for Happy Paws dogs, but for all the other dogs at the centre. Everybody uses it, and it's brilliant, and it's just saved a phenomenal amount of money. But by doing that, by saving the, you know, loads of money, not paying private vets, we've still got to do as much as we can to maintain it. You know, x-rays cost money, vaccinations, this, that, antibiotics, you know, whatever, painkillers, you know, all the things like gloves and gauze, and you know, all the stuff, all the little things, the flea and worm treatment. That's the, you know, we do the 3-month flea and worm treatment, and that's £30 a tablet
Per dog again. Per dog
again.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but it's the best that we can offer, and you know, that's what we want to do. We don't want to, just because they're rescue dogs, we don't want them to have second best. Not at all.
No, not at all. You've also got a lovely place at the centre called Duncan's Den, haven't you?
Yes. Yes.
And what's that all about?
Well, my first little fella that we rescued was dear Duncan. This was my boy, and I still get a little bit emotional when I talk about him, Dominique, to be honest, because he was so super special. He was a little lad that was probably, I would say, the most abused, ill-treated little boy, and he turned out to be, we got him over, obviously, and he turned out to be the most amazing little boy, and he loved living with us, but unfortunately we had to say goodbye to him about 18 months ago because his cruelty really caught up with him in his older age. We think he was about 9 when we rescued him, and we called him Duncan because he had no hair. He had literally was bald, bless him. And when we had him, he looked like a little Ewok because he was so, you know, there was nothing we wouldn't do for our little boy, and his hair grew and grew and just didn't stop growing.
He had the most amazing ears, didn't he?
Yes, very long. And I refused to cut them. I absolutely refused. In fact, it was so funny. It was ages ago now, but I actually said on Facebook, oh, I'm going to cut, I just happened to say on the group, you know, I'm going to cut Duncan's ear hair because it was literally like, it was long as our hair, you know, it's really long.
Yeah.
And I think it was, I'm sure it was Linda Kitt and Ellen Evans set up a fundraiser to say, send some money in so Lisa doesn't cut his ear hair. So,
and you did, you raised a whole bunch of money, didn't you?
I think we did. So yeah, it was the funniest thing I've ever, it was so funny. So in the end, what I did with his ear hair was that I just put some sort of, you know, little ties in his ears so that the hair didn't go in his food. But I just thought, oh my goodness, they're going to murder me if I cut this ear hair. So I didn't, and we actually raised loads of money. So it was really fun.
Oh, that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So one of the joys of having a Cocker Spaniel is they've got lovely long ears, and they are beautiful, but they get into everything. So every time Layla eats, she comes out with wet ears at the bottom. But I have seen, and I'm not sure if I'm going to buy them, snoods for Cocker Spaniels, where you kind of put their ears in these soft snoods. I don't know. I'm tempted, but I haven't purchased yet, because they just get into everything. So I can totally understand that. And there's one thing I want to ask you about the centre, if I can bring it back to the centre,
Yes.
is sometimes I hear the garden and sometimes I hear the centre. What's the difference between the two?
Nothing really. The centre is obviously that's what it is. It is a rescue centre. But the name the garden came up, I guess, because it's it's sort of like it's just something that I think it's just grown from Happy Paws and from people talking about it, because when it first started, it was just really like a little bit of garden, I guess. So I guess that's just stuck. It's just a nice way of referring, I think, to the centre, because the centre sounds quite sort of, well, just centre doesn't really sound like anything. But when we sort of say, oh, it's the garden, it's because that's the name that really we've all affiliated ourselves with the centre, really.
Oh, perfect. So there is a program I'd like to chat to you about that is very much going to benefit from the legacy appeal, and that's the Spay and Neuter program that you've set up over the years. Can you just explain to me how that started and how it works?
Yeah, I mean, we looked at the Spay and Neuter program when I first went over to Turkey many years ago, and we went around. It was in the evening. We went round to a couple of feeding stations, which is really where the dogs that have been dumped. They're sort of feral, really, but they live in these different areas. And we sort of went round and did the feeding program, which was really such an eye opener. All these dogs literally come. You're at the feeding station and they'll beat the horn or they'll shout or whatever, and then suddenly all of these dogs come out of nowhere. You would never see them. It's so weird. And they literally just all come, they're ever so friendly, they're lovely, they're lovely dogs, and they love to see you, and you just sit and have a stroke and have a chat, and you change the water for them, make sure that's all clean, and obviously feed them their food. But what I noticed when I was over there was just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of puppies. I was like, oh my God. And your first thought when you see a load of puppies is, oh, isn't that lovely? That's so cute. But actually, it's not cute. It's not cute at all in that scenario. So you just think to yourself, oh gosh, this is terrible, because all of these puppies are going to grow up and then they're going to have babies, and then the boys are going to mate with everything, and you're going to get all this inbreed. Oh, it just, the thought. And I'm thinking, well, how on earth is this going to sustain itself? Well, it's not. And so again, went away, had a really good think about what I'd seen, what I'd witnessed, and thought the only way that we can stop this is to do the Spay and Neuter program and make sure that no puppy in these areas is born to die. That's the thing, because they don't survive. They don't, without proper care, whatever, they just don't. They're not vaccinated, so they can die of disease, starvation. They can get killed by other males because they're all unneutered, this, that, the other. So it's like, right, okay, what do we do? So came home, put a plan together of how we were going to approach this, and started the Spay and Neuter program itself. Now, over the years, we have tried to get this really going, because there was a lot to do. So we actually raised the money and into another rescue in Turkey. So we put a Spay and Neuter room in there, all lovely equipment. It was really good. And then we started the gathering up of the dogs that were in these areas, spay, neuter, look after them, pop them back where they came from. So it was all done very methodically So then over the last couple of times that I've been, now this is obviously going back a few years, as I went over sort of, you know, go over about 2 or 3 times a year, you started to see the reduction. You could see it. It was evident. And then last time I went, or the time before last I went, didn't see one puppy. I was so chuffed. I was so excited. I couldn't believe it. I thought, yes, we've done it. We've really made a difference here, because the populations are reducing. The health is better. You know, you don't want them to be unhealthy. The boys, you know, the boys are not mating with lots of girls, therefore the reduction of TBT, cervical cancer, septicemia with the mums giving birth to goodness knows how many puppies. You know, all of these different things were just improved, and you could see it. It was just amazing. And then the last time I went over, which was a few weeks ago, we went to a feeding station, and a mum had been dumped there, a mum that wasn't part of the original group, and she had 10 puppies. And I just thought, wow, well, those will be sorted out. They're earmarked to be sorted out when they're old enough. Mum's going to be obviously spayed as soon as we can. But I thought, actually, this is a real achievement for the charity. This is what the government should be doing. This is what other charities should be involved in, is stopping these births in the first place. And then the suffering will not be as bad as it has been in the past. And I think I'm, again, privately so chuffed with this project, because it's a project that is so needed. And that's what any charity that's worth its salt will say: spay and neuter is the way forward to reduce the population.
I think that's so true. I mean, I'm sure you get it on social media a lot, when we're rescuing a dog from the forest or some area, and there's street dogs around. A lot of people ask the question to me on Instagram, and did you rescue the street dog as well? Did you rescue the other dog? And I try and explain to people that they're not comfortable in homes. They've lived on the streets, but we do have other programs for them. And this is the example of one of the most important programs for the street dogs, isn't it?
It is. It's so important. And, you know, street dogs that are born in that area, that's all they know. The dogs that we rescue, like if you put a retriever or a cocker spaniel or a Labrador into that area, that dog is going to suffer very, very much, because 1, it's not wanted there. 2, it has no clue how to survive. 3, it's literally out in the wilderness with nobody, when it might have been dumped by a family, probably, which is the most likely thing. You know, so that poor soul doesn't know how to survive in that environment, whereas a street dog or a forest dog or whatever, they know how to survive. And I think, actually, from a mental point of view, you take a dog out of that environment, that's been born in that environment and used to that environment, is just not going to work. It's just not going to work. And then expect that dog to then live in a family environment is just really tough. It's a tough one. And as a charity, we feel that we are obviously Goldie, Cocker, Labrador, you know, that, and setters, and, you know, we'll rescue who we can, who we think will fit into the UK or whatever, you know, in a really positive way, of course. But we also understand that it's just not possible to rescue absolutely every dog, and I don't think it's fair to do so. That's just my personal opinion.
I totally agree. I totally agree. But you are doing something for them. You're doing the best you can for them. They're fed, and they're spayed and neutered, which will reduce that population. Speaking of spaying and neutering, most people who follow us on social media would have heard about Bindi's story this week, and that's she wasn't a street dog. She's clearly at some stage been an owned dog, I would imagine. But sadly, her little puppy died this week.
Yes, very sad story. Very, very sad. We were alerted. I was just like, oh God, no, please no, what is going on? It was just so super sad. The whole thing was sad. The fact that she was in the pound where she shouldn't have been in the first place, you know, and poor love, she's so young as well. I think it's probably maybe her first litter, so she You know, sort of, I don't think she really knew what to do. It was very, very sad. And the little one was just very tiny, emaciated, not very well. We did our absolute best, which we always do, because we thought, look, we're going to get this little pair out. We're going to give them the chance. And that's what we're all about. We're about the chance, but we're realistic too. I personally think, you know, maybe if we'd have got to them sooner, you know, you have all these thoughts and you think, oh, if we'd have got to them sooner, maybe we would have been able to do this. But the truth is, this is the reality when a dog is not spayed. Yes, this is the reality. These little ones are just so vulnerable, so open to, you know, disease. They're open to so many infections. They're open to so many different things. And also malnutrition, because if she's thin and she's not being fed properly, then the little ones are not going to be fed properly.
Not getting the nutrition that they need. But I believe that Bindi's doing well.
She's doing really well. She's such a little sweetie. She's basically spending time today, which I will be posting at some point. She's spending time today with the office staff. So she's in the office being, you know, sort of looked after and really sort of showing her so much love and so much attention, because, you know, bless her little heart, you know, she's probably thinking, you know, where's my baby? What's happened? And it's just so incredibly sad. But we want to make sure now, unfortunately, there was nothing more we could do for the little one, but we can make sure that Bindi has the correct care and love and treatment and all of those things, and making sure that she has a good nutritional sort of program to really build her back up again. And then as soon as she's able, she will then be spayed straight away, and then we'll get her, you know, we will prepare her hopefully to come to the UK once she's had all of her behaviour tests and everything and all the rest of it. Once she's passed her tests, then hopefully she'll be on her way to the UK, but that won't be until next year.
So her Happy Paws journey has begun.
Her Happy Paws journey has very much begun, although it started in a very sad way. We feel that there will be something positive come out of it. And the other thing that I think is that we have to draw from this little experience is it does draw to our attention the importance of the Spay and Neuter programme. It does. It just highlights how important it is, because that little one should never have been here. He shouldn't have been born not to suffer in that way. And I think it just, you know, it just highlights, you know, exactly why that programme is so important.
Certainly does. Thank you so much for explaining more, because I think, like me, I mean, I'm not a member of the charity, but I'm a very big observer and follow everything. But even though I've been following everything for 6 years now, there are things that I don't know about the centre and about the programs that you do. So that's why we wanted to explain more to people. And we're going to have you back in a couple of weeks, I think, to talk about other programs. So thank you, Lisa and Archie, and Molly and Maisie. I know they're probably asleep somewhere.
They've gone now. Molly's made her appearance. That's it.
And thank you to everyone for watching for another week. Please remember, if you'd like to donate to our legacy appeal, the link will be in the description box below. And we really need to get these funds together so that we can continue programs like the Spay Neuter Programme and all the facilities at the centre, so that so many more dogs will benefit from Happy Paws and the other charities that are there. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Archie. And we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Yeah, thanks, Dominique. Bye.
Bye-bye.